All right, it's officially 6:45, so I'm going to call the joint meeting to order. I'm going to start with the pledge.
Public for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're going to go straightforward with this one. I don't think we need to do introduction to any new audience members anyway. Number 2 is the approval of the minutes from July 8th.
Approval.
Second. Any comments, additions, changes? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Our consent agenda is A through F. Does anybody wish to withdraw anything from that consent agenda? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
I got Marie and Kowski seconded that. Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. That is definitely the quickest that we've gotten to Diane, but she's going to give us some year-end numbers here, so we'll give you a little more time, Diane.
I could talk for 15 minutes, but we'll see.
You don't have to either. That's fine. We could take a break.
So, we're in the process right now of closing out the fiscal year from FY25. I think as you could see in my report, we're pretty much closed out as far as the expenditures are concerned and the revenues, everything's posted. So through the end of June 30th, 2025, we really did a wonderful job collecting revenues. Revenues on tax collections to the supplemental motor vehicle, building permits, conveyance fees, and investment earnings. In total, $5.8 million over what we had anticipated, which I think is phenomenal. How that happened, a couple of things. One, our tax collector does an awesome job collecting. I know she has collected a lot of delinquent taxes over the last year, working with Corporation Counsel and attorneys. They've taken in a lot of delinquents, and with the delinquents also come a lot of interest and lien fees. In addition, the tax assessor also did that property tax audit that went back 3 years. That property tax audit brought in, hold on, I have the numbers here. I know it's over $700,000 in taxes, between taxes for the 3 years, interest and lien fees. So that was another very good initiative on the part of the assessor, putting that into place. And that is a 3-year process. So that was really the first year. So they've already started the second year of those audits. Okay, here it is. So we've already so for last fiscal year, we took in $718,000, and already through the new fiscal year, about $51,000. So in total, $769,000 just from that initiative on the property tax audits. So again, I think that was really a very good initiative on their part. Building permit supplemental, we did bring in over $2 million, which is 135% of what we had budgeted. Last year, we only brought in 1.68 million. So that brought in a lot of additional revenue also on the tax end. I will say the tax collector right now is still working on their tax collector report, which calculates the actual collection rate on the current. Last year, our collection rate was 99.5. I would not anticipate us being below that. I'd be very surprised if we were at these collections that came in. So I'll have that for you next month, what the actual collection rate is. But like I said, they're still working on that. Conveyance building permits came in just $740,000 over budget, conveyance $830,000. But we did hit $3 million on our investment income, and that was my goal last month. I think if you remember, we didn't know if we were going to hit it or not, and we did $3.05 million on investment income, which exceeds the estimates by $1.96 million. If you remember, every time we budget, we don't chase revenues. Our investment income has been very good the last 2 years. When we were working on the budget last year, we didn't know what interest rates were going to do, so we didn't increase that number. We did increase it this year for fiscal 25. What did we increase it to? I think it was over $2 million we did for this year. Investment earnings, we did 2.25 million. So even if we stay at the current trend, we should be able to hopefully exceed the 2.25 million if interest rates stay where they are. So that's all good news, that our revenues are came in that strong. On the expenditure side, excuse me, we're all closed out on the city side. Again, unaudited, but we're in pretty good shape. Board of Ed came in with a number last week. They came in with a deficit of $5.9 million. What will happen is that 5 million plus that we have in revenues, we will appropriate that to cover the Board of Education deficit. So the Board of Finance will do that at their next meeting. The plan is to have that ready for the meeting in 2 weeks, is to appropriate those revenues to the Board of Education. We do have carryovers that we will have to take care of that were kind of standard. We do them every year. And we will need to appropriate for our capital outlay as well. So overall, the deficit that we are looking at is about $1 to $1.5 million. And we will plan that to try to still stay within the 12 to 15%. But right now, we're just at 12% of our fund balance. And the 12%, I know I keep saying the 12%, the 12% is 12% of what our budget is. So that's the recommendation from the rating agencies, is to have a minimum or have a range, and our range is 12 to 15%. So we're at the low end of that range, but the plan will be to stay there when we finally do the closeout, and hopefully we'll be able to do that. Any questions on last year?
I do. Thank you for your report. I just want you to help me understand about where the line is between conservatively estimating revenue for the year and overtaxation.
So when we did the budget last year, there were a couple of things that we didn't know. Just to kind of show where some of the surpluses did come in at. The property tax revenues, and again, the supplemental. Tax audits, we didn't know they were going to be as successful as they were, bringing as much revenue. So that's one area. We did budget something for that. Off the top of my head, I'd have to look back to see what we did, but we did estimate a couple of $100,000 for that, and it came in a lot more than we had anticipated. Again, you don't want to overestimate, because then you would end up having a deficit. On the investment income side, we've always kind of tried to stay within some sort of a range, so we didn't have these spikes in the investment income. If you look at, I think in the budget book, I think I left that chart in there. There was a chart that showed investment income over the last couple of years, and it kind of goes, it's at the low a couple of years ago, and now it's at the high point. So you kind of go with the best estimate that you can at the time. So we try to not to be overly aggressive when we're estimating revenues, and tend to be more on the conservative side, because you really don't want to chase them at their high, because they could come down low, and then you do have to make up for that in the following year.
Okay.
So
Can I add to that a little bit ttle
I-
We had a little bit of a strategic change also as far as now the investment income is only interest income. So when you're looking at planning out for next year, a year in advance, I mean, do you know where interest rates are going to be? The Fed talks about they were going to cut interest rates, and then they didn't cut rates. So that kind of affected this a little bit. We assumed that rates were going to be lower than they actually were. That can come back now to maybe bite us the following year if interest rates do get cut tremendously, and we're anticipating a higher number. But we did make a strategic change in the fixed income part of the portfolio. These are CDs now, and they went a little bit longer term to try to capture that yield, to hold that yield a little bit longer, so we can have a little bit more of a clearer pathway on where what interest income is going to come in. But because it's just chasing interest off of a CD or a government bond, you really can't, you don't want to overestimate that, because you can't make it up anywhere else. It's not like you're investing in the stock market. And then you would just have a special assessment or something along the lines. So that's why there is a little bit of a scenario. This is a bigger year than in the past. It's also been burnt the other way a couple of years back when interest rates came crashing down, because it's very difficult to do a projection of where rates are going to be 12 months in advance.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
So just to follow up on that, he brought up a good point. We do ladder the investments. So the treasurer's office, when they're looking at where to put the funds, they do look at staggering to try to take advantage of those higher interest rates longer term. So that was one of the other changes that we've made over the last couple of years as well. Any other questions on last fiscal year? The current year, too much, it's very early. I obviously can't really say too much about it, but I will say the tax collections are coming in strong. Couple of things just to know on the report that you received, it's early when we have to print that report for you. The tax office is still processing tax payments that are not delinquent yet, like they came in on August 1st in the mail, so they're still in the process of processing that. So in the report that you have, we have a total of $61 million in actual year-to-date in tax revenue. I had them in the numbers for me this morning, they're actually 90 million. So since this report went out to you last week, they collected and posted and deposited an additional $30 million in taxes. You'll notice also supplemental motor vehicle, we're billing for that twice a year now instead of once a year. The supplemental collections on the report that you received was 585,000, and to date, they've collected over $1 million in supplemental. So kind of, it's just a timing issue when that comes out. Any questions on the current year? I mean, really, it's just revenues, expenditures aren't really that far ahead yet. The audit started, CLA is out here actually this week. The plan is to have a draft by December 1st and issue by 12/15. We don't anticipate any issues. The Banking and Audit Committee met 4 weeks ago with them, so that should be hopefully smooth sailing. And I will say the budget is up and running on the website. It was a struggle. I really need to thank Jody McGrain because ClearGov ended up changing the software and we had to basically recreate everything. And Jody worked really, really, really hard over the last 2 weeks to get that up and running. So some improvements we will need to make down the road, but I mean, everything is up there. You can access all of the departments. Everything is on there. So I think, did everybody get a link to it? I don't know if she had a chance to send that out. Okay, I'll send that out to everybody tomorrow. I'll make sure everybody gets the link.
City Council, maybe the Board of Finance.
I'll send it out tomorrow. I'll get it out to you tomorrow. Again, it was a huge undertaking this year because we had to recreate a lot, and Jody doesn't give up. So we got it done. So I need to really thank her for that. Any other questions?
All right, I'll entertain a motion.
15.
You did perfect. We're good time. We'll have a couple minute break. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All those in favor?
Aye.
We're adjourned. Okay, it is 7:03. We're going to call the city council meeting to order and we'll all start with the Pledge of Allegiance. Flag is to my right. Pledge allegiance to the flag. We'll do introductions. We'll start on my right. Go ahead, Sebastian.
Sebastian Piniotto, City Council District 1.
Sue Tyler, City Council District 2.
Mark Dick, City Council District 3.
He's moving.
Jacqueline Olson, City Council District 2.
Jeff Caggiano, Mayor.
Cheryl Tebow, City Council District 3.
Eric Rosengren, City Council District 1.
Tonight, I'm going to start, unfortunately, on a sad note. I'm going to ask for a moment of silence. As most of you probably heard, we lost a very valued member of the Bristol community and really a champion for Bristol schools. Karen Vibert unfortunately passed in a car accident. I had an awful lot of interaction with Karen. I was on the board from 2015 to 2019, which was her second term. And she was not only highly engaged and passionate about her work on the Board of Ed, but got involved in so many community activities and gave back. We did not see eye to eye on a lot of political things, and we definitely would go toe-to-toe at times at meetings. But I have the utmost respect for her, and it is a terrible loss for this community. So I'd like to have a moment of silence, please. Thank you. very tough segue from a tough thing like that, but very happy to have, and we're going to go to 1B first because we have more of them here. And we have the recognition of the junior softball girls team. This is the junior team, a little older team that won the state championship, and this is a tradition that we do every year. This team, I think, was before us once before. Is 11U or no? Do I have that wrong? When earlier? You guys, also first one for you all. But by the way, we have such a successful women's softball program that we have at least one team here every year. And in September, we're going to have another team come here. So manager Brian Ness, as I call you, I'm going to ask you to come up. We'll come up here and we'll take a picture, and I got to have a pin for each of you. So the manager is Brian Ness. Coaches are Kyle Wentland, John Hudson, and Jeremy Comandini. The players are Mariah Serrano, Camden Triani, Victoria Zaldivar, Bailey Adkins, Mackenzie Wentland, Kylie Nass, Julia Brunetti, Alana Lafergie, Madison Daigle, Ellie Hudson, Zoe Comandini, and Layla Anino. I think I got those all right, but thanks for the help early on. So I'm going to come around and give you all Bristol all heart pins. So one of the things we did for the girls when they went out is we gave them all heart pins. So they already have those. What I'm going to give you tonight is the seal of the city for representing Bristol very well. So I'll come and give that to you and we'll get a picture. Congratulations. You can pass the pins out there. No problem. Congratulations. Keep up the good work. You're making Bristol proud. All right. The next recognition is for Miss Connecticut Teen, and I'm going to ask Haley Patton to come up. This is another. We have frequent flyers, both the girls softball and now another Patton, not sisters, but Pattons representing us very proud in the Miss Connecticut Teen. So Haley, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Haley Patton, and after all of my hard work and determination, I was crowned Miss Connecticut's Teen 2025 just a month and a half ago. My community service initiative is Ladybug Outreach, assisting the unhoused and the food insecure in our communities and across the state of Connecticut. I am very honored to share that I will be leaving Connecticut to fly to Orlando, Florida to compete for the title of Miss America's Teen on August 30th. I'm so excited to represent our amazing state on the national stage. The Miss America Opportunity is a scholarship program where young women can earn scholarship dollars as well as teens, earning 8 full tuition scholarships on a presidential scholarship to schools like the University of Alabama, Mississippi State, and more. The Miss America Opportunity is not just a shiny sash or a crown. It is a dream, a journey, and a mission. Thank you to the City of Bristol for all of your support and the reason I stand here today talking to you all. Thank you so much for having me, and have a great night.
Congratulations. So one comment, and I did save a Bristol, Connecticut pin for you as well, too. So you would be the first to come back twice next month when you win the Miss Teen America. So I hope that happens.
Get him to face it.
Yeah. look good in all of them, that's for sure. All right. So let's get back to our regular meeting schedule. Number 2 is the approval of the minutes of the public hearing held on July 8th and the regular city council meeting held on July 8th.
Approval. Second.
Changes, corrections, additions, comments? Hearing none, all those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. While I go get the public participation, I'm going to invite Marco Palmieri up to be our first public participant. There's obviously a lot of action going on with Covanta / Reworld, and we asked Marco to come in and give us an update, and there was some news media outlet reporting, so we just want to hear from BBHD on it. Go ahead, Marco.
Thank you, Mayor Aggiano, members of the city council and members of the public. My name is Marco, the Director of Health with the Bristol Burlington Health District, and I am the local public health agency that represents the city. And as you know, we are dealing with a noise issue that is emanating from the Reworld facility. And I understand from what the mayor had indicated that there are some reports or perhaps some concerns from the public that the city of Bristol and or some folks within the city of Bristol are impeding our ability to mitigate this issue. And I just want to make it very clear that never has anyone from the city of Bristol, whether it's the mayor, the city council, or any employee from the city, never has interrupted or interfered with my ability to do my job, which fortunately is beneficial to me, but it also allows me to do my job without any interference. Legally, statutorily, it's my responsibility to mitigate any issues that are causing injury, disease, or mortality in our community. And we have been diligently for well over a year pursuing this matter. And we have pursued almost all of our legal and administrative options to go forward with our pursuit to reduce the impacts that this noise has had on the community, and in fact reduce it so it's no longer a violation of a regulation in Connecticut. To this date, we have successfully ordered the Reworld facility to correct the issue. They chose not to appeal our order, which now then stands in legal standing that the violation exists. To date, they have claimed that they have corrected the matter and they are no longer in violation, but agreed to continue to work to resolve the noise issue. I wouldn't necessarily admit to having to fix something if it was in compliance, but those are their words, not mine. So we will continue to mitigate or go through the administrative and legal options to mitigate this violation and noise nuisance until we've exhausted all our options. And I don't know if anyone from the city council or the mayor has any questions, but I just want to make it clear that never has anyone from the city interfered with our pursuit to resolve this matter.
Okay, we appreciate it. So there was a report from Reworld, just to put on the record as well, that they spent about $2.1 million in noise mitigation efforts, and they claim they are now below, and this is kind of the news report, below the standard requirements where they need to be, and that they feel that they've fixed that issue. Is there anything on your side that you can report to us? And I know you did a sound study as well that would either contradict that or confirm that.
So we haven't done one sound study. They have done one sound study over a period of hours. We have done many, many sound studies over periods of days and days. So our test results are based on longitudinal data as opposed to very limited several hour results. So we believe that our test results are much more representative of what people are experiencing. Never have our results indicated that Reworld was in compliance, even on the dates with which ReWorld has indicated they were operating in reduced capacity, whether it was 50% or below 100, they still were never in compliance. And ReWorld has never denied that they were the source or the cause of the nuisance. They have just recently, as a result of that report that the mayor just indicated, that they believe that they are in compliance. So they are challenging and questioning our consultant's results, and our consultant is questioning and challenging their results. We have them an option to hire a third party, independent acoustical engineer to resolve the matter. Perhaps we're incorrect, or perhaps they're incorrect. I'd rather have this go to bed so we can move on and go forward with reducing the noise and the nuisance. They haven't agreed to that option. I don't know why, but that's interesting. So all I can say is I'm responsible to the city and the residents to assure that I do my due diligence whenever there's a nuisance that's been brought to my attention.
Great. And are there any next steps that you would be taking as the Bristol Burlington Health Department? I know you haven't had a board meet, or you haven't had your board and commission meet in the summer, but you do have an upcoming meeting. Is there anything you can share with us, or maybe you'll come back in September and?
So, good point. You know, everything that we do costs money, right? To fight an appeal, which ReWorld seems to like to do, costs us a lot of money in legal expenses. So we are spending a lot of money to fight their appeals and to present legal papers and documents to help support our claim. We rather not have to spend money and just have ReWorld correct it. But in order to spend large amounts of money, the board needs to approve the allocation of those funds. And we need to have a board meeting, and our board meeting isn't until September. And Mr. Caggiano has indicated that we will meet and the board will decide whether or not to allocate funds to pursue the matter further.
That's all I had.
I do. The testing that's done by ReWorld that they do with themselves, is there any type of surprise inspection or surprise testing instead of them knowing well in advance that the testing is coming up?
Well, we've asked them to let us know when they're operating at different capacities, so then our results can reflect those changes. So we ask that, hey, if you're shutting down for a day, or if you're only operating one of the incinerators, just let us know. So when our test results reflect that, we can say, yeah, it makes sense. They don't know necessarily when we're testing, but all they need to do is drive by a property that they know we're using and see that we're testing. But they know when they're testing.
Yeah, I was just wondering because
And
of the
just
July.
for the record, I want to make sure this is clear too, though, that when they did test, they did notify you as well that they were testing, correct? I think
They haven't notified me on the dates and times that they've had their consultant.
I thought I saw some
Wouldn't matter.
correspondence.
Telling me that they've received correspondences. I don't receive correspondences from ReWorld nearly as often as people do, because my email, when they want to contact me, they know how to contact me, but I haven't received any notices that they're testing or doing any evaluations on any dates and times. That wouldn't be something that I would necessarily care about, because
Yeah,
they're.
you're doing your independent testing, I get it,
Right.
but I believe that they did notify you they had a test, I think it was in June. Weather wasn't ideal because weather has major effects on the sound, and I do believe that they did put out a notice when they were going to test.
Put out a notice that they were going to do some testing, but if that's publicly sent out to a whole bunch of emails, and I wouldn't necessarily be
Yep.
on that email chain.
Good. Sorry, Mark, didn't mean to interrupt. Any other questions?
You just said what I was going to.
Okay. Cheryl, did you have a question?
No, because I've been emailing back and forth with the director, and he's been very helpful in getting me information. I'm just looking to try to find what the fix is so that, and I'm sure Covanta or ReWorld, whatever you want to call them, wants to too. Because that's the goal, the end game is to have resolution. And so I guess we wait for next steps to see if they'll agree, and maybe we can suggest to them as well. Please, let's go in with this third test, this third independent group, so that we can find out if yet it agrees with one or the other or in between. So I'd be willing to throw my weight behind that to ask them to do that and so forth.
Right. And we hope so too as well.
Great.
Through the chair, this is probably a unfair question that you can't answer, but just knowing that we're coming up on 2 years, and just to kind of follow through on Cheryl's comments, is there any idea, like if they were to agree on this third party, is there like a timeline that you can anticipate? I mean, are we getting close to the end? Are we somewhere in between where we don't know how much longer this is going to go on? Do you have any thoughts on that?
Well, to the best of my knowledge, ReWorld hasn't agreed to do that option. So perhaps they're thinking about it and they'll get back to us, but our attorney has indicated that there has been no response. There's also other factors that play in. We want to make sure that ReWorld is not going to know when we're going to be having this third party do the evaluation, right? Or otherwise, they're going to control the results. So we would have to be done in a manner in which we can control the environments with which the testing is going to take place, and some other factors that would perhaps come into play. And those are all predicated on the availability of the third party vendor, whether or not they're available, and a lot of other factors. So no one will know if and when we do it until after the fact, because obviously we're going to keep that under wraps. But the outcome hopefully will show that either ReWorld is correct and they've been in compliance, or that our results are correct and they're out of compliance.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't think there's any further information we can glean at this point. Appreciate you coming in, and I really do appreciate the effort that you're putting forth on this, Marco, as you are kind of our only outlet for authority on this type of matter. So appreciate it.
No worries.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
All right, we'll move on with our next public participant. And Mike, you're up next. Aracinco, name and address for the record. 3 minutes, please.
And for the record, Mike Aracinco, 40 Palmer Place. Happy to be back. Here tonight to speak up for Alex and the kids like him. Again, the 20% in our school system that are special just like him. Because I feel, Mr. Mayor, you were letting them down. I saw your video blaming the Board of Education again for this year's tax increase. And it shouldn't surprise anyone that the Board of Ed is running a deficit, especially since you commissioned an audit that clearly showed this. This outcome was predictable based on their expenses, and when an audit commissioned by you states the funding is insufficient to cover expenses, a deficit is not unexpected, it is inevitable. Yet, despite this knowledge, you continue to call the deficit unpredictable and unanticipated. And yet, at the same time, you are rejoicing over a $5.8 million unanticipated revenue from the city side. But you are, again, just trying to create a narrative that will put the wool over the eyes of the people who are mad about the tax increase. Your comptroller has been reporting on this revenue sources for the last several months, and anybody who reads her reports knows that you have exceeded the budget lines for months. Nothing here is unanticipated, but as Councilman Dickow points out, you may be guilty of overtaxing us because you just found money that could have reduced the budget by $1 whole mil. The truth is you are intentionally misleading the public about education funding. Why? Because when the grand list fails to grow, the taxes needed to be raised, you need a scapegoat. So you underfunding education and then blame the Board of Education for a forecasted deficit to avoid accountability for your own failures. It's not just irresponsible. It is a cynical abuse of power. It's almost as low as fabricating the ethics complaints against the board chair to damage her reputations. In my opinion, your actions show just how poor your leadership is and how you're more comfortable in having an enemy than finding a way to work with your partners. And if I have anger in my tone tonight, part of the motivation could be because one of your own council candidates treasurers in District 1, Jennifer St. John, her treasurer Danielle, post of my son trying to speak, a special needs child. He's not even getting sentences yet, but this is a laughing matter. This is the third time she's done it, and I've about had enough. I'm done.
Up next is Melina Floyd.
Hi, everyone. Melina Floyd, 108 Carroll Drive. So, all of you were elected to represent our entire community, not a political party, and take that responsibility seriously. This bipartisan work involves speaking the truth about what is working and truth about what is broken or blocking our progress. Then you need to fix whatever's broken. And what's broken is, as he so eloquently stated, your support for education. Earlier this year, the city, under the mayor's direction, commissioned an outside audit of the Board of Education's finances. The audit gave us crystal clear findings and you can read them on the Board of Education website. They show that the multi-year deficit we face was predictable based on the level of funding provided versus actual cost of educating 8,000 students in Bristol. That's why it's deeply troubling to watch you continually blame our school system for the deficit the city's own audit predicted, and to hear the mayor publicly claim that the Board of Education is the reason taxes are going up. The education system is no more responsible for tax increases than it is for the cost of operating City Hall. It is the job of the mayor, Board of Finance, and City Council to adequately fund every city department, including education. And when you don't, you are responsible for the tax increases. You're supposed to go back to the drawing board and look at the reasons why every other department is not in a deficit and what you're doing differently for those departments that you're not doing for education, and then fix it. If you increase their budgets and their employee insurance yearly to match contract obligations, then you need to do that for education. If you're following the state guidance and the federal guidance surrounding surplus funding for every other department, then you need to do that for education. Underfunding education and then shifting the blame erodes trust. Every person in a position of authority here tonight who has allowed this to happen, whether by action or by silence, is accountable for the damage done. You cannot claim to value education or this city while you cut it to the bone, ignore clear warnings, and continually mislead the public. Bristol residents deserve better, and anything less is a betrayal of the very people you were elected to serve. Thank you.
Thank you, Melina. Anybody on Zoom wish to address the city council? Okay, we'll move on to announcements, and Eric, I'm going to start on my left this time. Go ahead. Your microphone's not on. There you go.
All right, the mayor's pencil hunt is back. The mayor and the city of Bristol, Parks, Rec, Youth and Community Services Department invite all pre-kindergarten through 8th grade youth and families to the 8th annual mayor's pencil hunt. Each participant will participate in a pencil hunt, scavenger hunt for pencils, as well as take home an age-appropriate goodie bag filled with school supplies. Youth who pull specially marked pencils will take home a surprise silver or gold prize, in addition to the school supplied goodie bag. The pencil hunt is a fun way to gather some school supplies for the new year, as well as connect with some friends or make some new ones over the summer. In addition to a scavenger hunt, there will be several community resources and other vendors present there to provide information and handouts to all. Come by and check it out. It's on Thursday, August 21, 2025. Rain date is Monday, August 25, 2025. If the event is moved to rain date, the schedule will be the same. And it was 5 to.
It goes in sequential.
I think it's 5 to 7,
like 7.
7:50.
It's age
Yeah.
group dependent. So
Yeah.
you start with the young kids and move up. Yeah.
So it starts at 5. And pre-registration through the Parks and Rec department is required. Then we also have on August 20th, 2025, the Back to School Bash. Come and meet school staff and community providers and dunk a principal. Don't know which one that is. It's going to be at the Arts and Magnet School, 70 Memorial Boulevard, from 5:30 to 7:30. There'll be face painting, raffle prizes, food trucks, DJs, backpacks for the first 150 students. And then I'll wait for this for
Committee reports?
committee report.
That's good. Cheryl?
Yeah, hi, and I feel inadequate for this announcement, seeing the chair of the Diversity Council's sitting directly in front of me, but, so correct me if I miss anything, but I do want to share that the Diversity Council is going to have a Diversity Day Peace Walk. This will be on Saturday, August 23rd, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on the Federal Hill Green. There'll be music, there'll be info tables, and so much more. Anything else I can add to that, Mr. Chair? Okay, so please come on out, join your fellow citizens and learn more about what the Diversity Council does. I know they are recruiting for their committee, so if you have an interest in joining this committee, please see the mayor so that we can add to their numbers for their committee. Thank you.
And email would be best to the mayor. That would be good. Mayor's office, bristolct.gov. Is that it?
That's all today.
I have a few announcements tonight. There's quite a bit going on. First one is actually very good news. So I got a direct correspondence from Sheridan Woods Health Center, and I just want to read it for you. Sheridan Woods Health Care Center is pleased to announce the state of Connecticut has officially approved our request to resume admissions. As of July 30th, Sheridan Woods is approved to accept new admissions. We look forward to welcoming new residents and continuing to serve the Bristol community and surrounding towns with the same commitment to quality care and support that families have come to know and trust. Our team remains dedicated to providing a safe, respectful, and compassionate environment for all who call Sheridan Woods home. We are grateful for the City of Bristol for its ongoing support throughout this process. As we reopen Sheridan Woods to new admissions, remain committed to serving the Bristol community and providing compassionate care. So that was good news. There is no definitive arrangement from the state. Certainly this is a good sign that we hope that they continue operations and move that along. And I know that myself, Henry Martin, others, I think Mary Fortier did work hard to try to keep this open. So it's looking good right now, and that's the best news that we can have right now. Speaking of good news, we've already reported on the Perkins Street property that is going to become part of the Burge Hoppers Preserve. And we closed on that property this past week. So we now own that property. And on Parks Board next week, we will put a motion forward for them to accept that property to the preserve. So that's good news number 2. The next one is kind of so-so news, but I did want to report that the Pre-K Academy at Giamatti is on schedule. We had an IT meeting this week with the superintendent and Jeff Telke, and the turnover from the 2 tournaments that they had there, both the softball and the baseball tournaments, are over now, and they should be able to go ahead and open up the Pre-K Academy without any issues. Things have been going very well. On the other side of that, and I don't know if I'm stealing thunder from Edgewood School Building Committee, but this is going to be a little bit longer process, looking at the design and build and what is entailed in the project. The preferred architect and construction committee has decided to maybe go back and look at different ways to fund this project, because the funding is well over the $16 million or so that we have allocated to it. So it looks like they will be at the Pre-K Academy for maybe 2 years, and at least this first year is looking good. So we'll have to bring that back to the Board of Finance and take a look at that. The fourth is, I hope, also good news. We have come up with an agreement to suspend the execution of the April 14th demolition order for the West End Athletic Center. So what has happened there is there was some back and forth. Our legal counsel, or corp counsel, did an excellent job setting up very strict parameters, which I'm happy to share with any of you, that will keep the new ownership group on a very strict timeline, because this is an unsafe building that has been ordered for demolition. They have a tall task ahead of them, but they have gone through, I don't know if they closed on the property. They did close on the property, so their clock is ticking. They need to get a permit, and the first order of business will be to to replace the roof and make the building weather tight again. So we'll watch that one closely. The demolition order doesn't completely go away here because if they don't follow the stipulations of this contract, we'll be right back where we were. And the final thing that I did want to talk about, because this was some great news over the last couple of weeks, and we had a great ECD meeting last week that talked about the state of the city of Bristol. And it was actually a big surprise for many people. I've heard about it for a couple of weeks. But the city of Bristol is changing very dramatically. We're working with a marketing company that is helping us to market the city and kind of change the vibe of the city. We have been a city that has been aging in place, and our largest population has been our elderly population for many years and up to 2021. But as of the 2025 data, and this comes directly from the Bristol, Connecticut profile data on Census Reporter, and Works, the company that we were working with, called this data for and put it out to us. Our largest age groups in the city of Bristol, which are growing by about 3,000 people over the last 4 years, is 20 to 39-year-olds. And both those age groups, 20 to 29 and 30 to 39, are 15% of our population. The next closest was our elderly, I shouldn't say older because I'm in this age group, was the 50 to 59, and that's at 13%. The development that's happening downtown, the things that we're seeing, the vibe that's changing has also had Bristol ranked number 24 in the country for the hottest zip codes for home sales. And Realtor.com put that out there. Excited about the change. This is something that is going to, make the downtown development pop a little bit more. And it definitely shows that the effort and work that we've put in to make that happen is coming to fruition. That's all I have. Jackie, you're up.
Thank you, Mayor. So just to add to the Edgewood Building Committee report, last month when we had our meeting, we did interview 3 contractors, and I hope that we have decided on one, but purchasing was going back to negotiate some fees, so that should be good. The Water and Sewer Department, they will be replacing 4 emergency automatic transfer switches at the Broad Street Pump Station. These switches are responsible for transferring power to emergency generators in the event of a utility power outage. The planned maintenance is August 25th to the 29th, and the Broad Street Pump Station is located at 200 Broad Street. It's the city's main pumping station, and that pumps nearly 4 million gallons of wastewater per day to the wastewater treatment facility located on Batista Road. So ensuring that the pump station's operations are uninterrupted 24/7 is a priority and imperative in preventing possible sewer backups for 2/3 of the city's residents and businesses. So the work requires utility power to the station to be de-energized by Eversource. And the station will be powered by rental emergency generators 24/7 until the work is completed. The work, as I said, will begin on August 25th. It goes through August 29th. And with this, there will be staff on site throughout the entire project. The rental generators will be located on site in an area that will have the least impact on noise produced. In addition, a fence will be installed around the perimeter of generators with acoustical panels to help mitigate noise from the generator. Only one generator will be operational at any time. The second generator will be served only as a backup in the event of failure. So you could stay up to date on all that, all scheduled maintenance by signing up for notification on the website www.bristolctwatersewer.gov.
Great. Thanks, Jackie.
You're
Mark?
Seeing you brought up the economic development with Works, I'm going to bring this up now. I've been in contact with both marketing and Works in the past few days. I don't know if you've heard about this or not, but the information, the way that they presented it was false. They are saying that 3,182 20 and 30-year-olds have chosen Bristol as their home. But as you know, college students are from age 17 to 22. And then if you go to graduate school to 28. So a lot of these they're still living with their parents. That's not choosing to live here. I mean, their parents are the ones choosing to live here. Understandable about that that's the largest growing age group in the city. Now, the information that was taken was the national census. All they did was take the 2024 and subtract the 2019 numbers. So they don't know if people are moving in, people moving out, anyone that was a teenager aged into the 20s and 30s or into their 20s. So it's like when I talked to them, they were talking about everything, and they're talking about actually now having to change the wording because once they found this, once I brought the information up to them, they said, we never thought about that. So I just wanted to let you know that the information, the way that Works presented it to us, which you did approve, is false, the way we presented it to the city.
And point in fact, you're on the ECD commission, so we all approved that report.
Understandable. And I just said, I did my,
So what is,
reviewed the information after the fact because I didn't have a chance to review it beforehand. And I've been in touch with both marketing and Works themselves.
okay. So I don't know what the dispute is here. We have a large growing population of younger people. By the way, many of us in college chose not to live in the city of Bristol at times. So choices, the eye of the beholder, but I appreciate your comments, and we will take that back to the ECD board because I think that's where it belongs.
But thank you very much. The way you just said at times, it's like, yes, kids lived in college dorms, but they were still residents of Bristol.
Sue, do you have any announcements for us?
Just a couple. Just a reminder to everyone, this Saturday, 10 to 6 is the West End Festival. What were you doing on one leg?
This is a new challenge that they have on Instagram. I was actually supposed to be wearing high heels on top of a table. I did get on a table, but listen, it worked. How many people saw it? I think the West End Festival got some notoriety. So you got to have fun sometimes. I'm not wearing high heels. I would have killed this.
Why the mayor was on the table, but
Haley's got some heels I'm sure you could borrow.
Haley may have done this by the way. She knows what we're talking about probably.
So just a reminder, West End Festival, the summer festival, it is the event of the year besides, in addition to the Mum Festival. This is, I think, the second greatest equal event, 181 vendors and the car show piece of it and something like 16 food trucks. And it's definitely, I think the weather's supposed to be nice this Saturday too. So everybody should go down there. Also, okay, I fell off my thing here. Let's see, reminder, the police department is recruiting. And I believe the deadline is coming up in the next couple of weeks. But for anyone who is interested in taking our police exam, or if you are a certified officer and would like to come to the best police department around, we are also opening our doors to certified officers. That's also on the Bristol Police Department's Facebook page. So if you want more information or how to apply, that's on their Facebook page. And there was one other thing here. Dumpy's Ice Cream and the Bristol Police Department have a fundraiser going on August 17th, 1 to 7 p.m. And all a percentage of the proceeds will be donated to the Special Olympics. So nothing better than helping the police department raise money for Special Olympics and ice cream.
Hey, what time did you say that was again?
Dumpy's is 1 p.m. to 7 p.m.
Thank you very much.
On August 17th. That's all I have.
Great. Sebastian, any announcements?
Sure. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just want to alert folks that we will be doing the West Cemetery tours, the tours in the fall. We've set dates. If you'd like to save those dates, October 3rd and 4th with a rain date of October 5th. The Cemetery Commission does a great job with the Historical Society and West Cemetery to organize these informational tours, the lantern tours that are at night. Usually we ask for a small donation for the cemetery commission or for the historical society as admittance. And we're happy to continue the tradition of having these cemetery tours here this fall.
They are very fun. I just put that in the book as well, too. Anything else, Sebastian? Okay, I think we're done with announcements. We will go to the consent agenda, and I actually am aware that 5I needs to be amended a little bit. So I will ask somebody to officially make a motion to withdraw 5I or any other items they wish to withdraw.
Make a motion to withdraw item 5I from the consent agenda.
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And then before we go to 5I, can I have a motion to approve the rest of the agenda items excluding 5I?
So move.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, now I didn't physically hand this to anybody. Eric, do you have it in front of you? It added, or somebody, it's not on here. Paper copy. We had to add the dates and another thing. Attorney Steve, do you have it? Does somebody have it in front of them?
I don't have the date.
Sorry, I knew I had a bunch of them. Hand it to Cheryl since she's right next to me. Go ahead, read the motion.
Substitute. Okay. I'd like to make a motion to substitute the language in 5I with the following. Looking at this. Okay, so we made the motion, so I need a second for that.
Have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? And now you're going to read the amended motion, correct, Erica?
Okay.
Go ahead.
This is the amended one.
You got it. Good.
I would like to make a motion to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to hold harmless agreement, to sign the hold harmless agreement in favor of Inland Commercial Real Estate Services, LLC, for the Bristol Police Department to conduct training exercise at 383 Middle Street in Bristol, Connecticut on August 25th through 29th, 2025, and September 4th and 5th, 2025, respectively, and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to sign hold harmless agreement in favor of Win Stanley Property Management, LLC, for the Bristol Police Department to conduct training exercise at 383 Middle Street in Bristol, Connecticut on August 25 through 29, 2025, and September 4th and 5th, 2025, respectively.
Second.
Great. And I read it right next to you because it was right on top of my papers. You got it exactly right. And just for those here that were maybe looking at it on the agenda, we had to add the dates and we had to add the second insured. So that's all that changed. That was a little complicated. And this is just a regular vote, right? So no resolution on this. So I will call that vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, we are going to move on to number 6, which is reports and committee reports, and we'll start with real estate. Sue. You ready?
Yes, I am. I'd like to make a motion to move that the mayor or acting mayor be authorized to enter into a 60-day listing agreement with Bottom Line Realty to act as its real estate agent for the sale of city-owned property known as 86 Divinity Street, map 28, lot 11. The listing price is anticipated to be $45,000. I further move that the mayor or acting mayor be authorized to sign any document necessary to effectuate this motion and that this matter be referred to the Corporation Council.
Second.
Great. Any comments about the property in general? And we've now moved to Bottom Line Realty, which has been working out well. So hopefully we do just as well here.
This lot on Divinity Street is just another prime parcel to be listed with a real estate broker. It's going to fetch us more money than going out to an RFP. So Bottom Line Realty did a really good job on the last one. And so we're anticipating, hopefully the market is still really prime for this. So we'll do well.
It is the 24th hottest market in the country. So hopefully we will do well. All right. Any other comments or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, we'll move on to salary committee, which is you, Cheryl.
Right, I do have 2 motions. I'd like to read them both and then have discussion, then go back and vote on one and then the second.
Okay, give us the
I
background.
think
Yep.
it would be beneficial to have the whole picture. So the first item is 6B, which is to approve the creation of a new position of parent ambassador, non-bargaining, grant funded at the rate of $25 per hour, not to exceed 10 hours per month, up to 3 positions with a 2-year term each, and refer to the Board of Finance.
Second.
And then the next motion, which would be 6C, is to approve the creation of a new full-time position of Family and Community Engagement Coordinator, grant funded at salary level 3 on the non-bargaining salary schedule, and refer to the Board of Finance.
Second.
Thank you. And as I start to discuss this, I'd like to invite Donna to the podium, please. These positions came about based on the grant that was provided by the state of Connecticut. This was discussed at a prior meeting at council. We went back, we looked at the job descriptions that were necessary for this. The first one being the parent ambassador. We felt that 3 of these positions would fit into the budget that was provided by the grant quite nicely. These positions will report to Donna. They will not exceed 10 hours per month. They will be taken from parents that have age-appropriate children in the system. And they'll have the rate of $25 per hour. We reviewed the job description at salary and wanted to bring this forward. The engagement coordinator is a more hefty full-time position. This will be working directly with the schools, working with Donna, and this will be funded out of non-bargaining. This is not a temporary position. So Donna, I'd like to turn it over to you to add some color to this, or, and help me answer any questions.
Sure, thank you, Cheryl. So as you heard at a prior meeting, we have a significant amount of administrative grant funding coming to the city to help oversee for early childhood work in Bristol. And so instead of $100,000 from the state, we're going to get $300,000. So this will allow us to hire our duties expanded. So I'll spend most of my time in the monitoring of the preschool programs. The family and community outreach coordinator will do we'll work with the community members, help tie everything together. We'll work very closely together, obviously, and be able to get a whole lot more work done together. It is grant funded. Not only our salaries will come out of the grant, but also our benefits, which is new. In prior years, my benefits have come out of the city. So we are 100% independent now, with the exception of the match that you have provided. But the work, again, we'll be able to do a whole lot more now with the added people.
Thank you.
And anybody else in the salary committee want to make a comment first, and then we'll open up to questions? Nope. Questions from the council? I mean, this is good news. The governor and legislature has put more money towards early childhood education. We've been asking for that for many years. They put other special education money forward as well, too. So this is good news, and I think you both have handled this well, so I appreciate it.
Thank
So we will take the votes separately, just to be clear on this. So the first vote will be for
The 3 parent ambassadors.
yes. Very good. So I'll call that vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And now the second.
Is for the community engagement coordinator.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Congratulations, Donna.
Thank you, Donna.
That's good. Good work. All right, we move on to 6D, correct? Which is ordinance committee. And Sebastian, you got 3 different items here.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I hereby move that section 7-17 open burning requirements of the Code of Ordinances to the city of Bristol, Connecticut is hereby amended to read as follows. I further move that the city clerk publish said amendments in additions to the Code of Ordinances, and that they become effective upon expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the city of Bristol.
Second.
Sure. So to summarize here, we had this discussion a little bit last month. We're discussing essentially 20 foot fire pit radiuses for structures and for permanent structures and for property lines. The following motions also will give authority to a senior fire official on site to issue citations, and will include this chapter in our ordinances designated for enforcement by citation procedure.
Excellent. Any other comments, Cheryl?
Yeah, through the chair, I would like to give special thanks to some citizens. We have one in the audience who brought this concern of the distance of the fire pits to us. The marshal and the fire chief, who both weighed in, did some research, and we're behind this as well because the whole entire goal is safety for all members of our community. So, thank you to those individuals.
Great. Any other comments? We'll take the vote then. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, and now these are the follow-on changes to the,
Member Pignotto, are we going to waive the readings?
Yeah, we could make that motion to waive the readings.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Good catch, Erica. Thank you. All right, next.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to waive the reading.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
I hereby move that section 23-1, adoption, formation, and powers of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, is hereby amended to read as follows. I further move that the city clerk publish said amendments and additions to the Code of Ordinances, and that they become effective upon the expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the City of Bristol.
Second.
Great. No further comments on this one, I hope. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And
I'll make
the
a
last-
motion to waive the reading regarding section 23-2.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
I hereby move that section 23-2, ordinances designated for enforcement by citation procedure of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bristol, Connecticut, is hereby amended to read as follows. I further move that the city clerk publish said amendments and additions to the Code of Ordinances, and that they become effective upon the expiration of 14 days from the date of their publication in a newspaper of general circulation in the City of Bristol.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right. Sebastian, anything else from you?
No, nothing further.
Very good. Any committee reports from you, Sue?
Just real quick, we have a brand new code enforcement officer, Mike Dotery. He just started a week ago, plus an extra day. And he attended his first code enforcement meeting last week. I think that he was very enthusiastic and really excited to get started. So we welcome him aboard.
Great. Mark, any committee reports?
Nothing?
Jackie, committee reports?
Nothing, Mayor.
I have one quick one. Northeast Middle School, we had the building committee today. And actually, the first thing I need to report is that we're at this point about $13 million under budget. And things are going very well. They hope to get the building weather tight by Thanksgiving, and they're on track and goal for that. And we're starting to get reimbursements from the state, which is good because I think that's a change. We're getting them as we go now rather than at the end. So that helps with investment income as well. Any committee reports?
I do, thank you. Arts and culture has been busy. We've been out promoting our events for Rockwell Theater. They kick up on September 13th with 1964, The Tribute. This is a Beatles cover band. Tickets are brisk, so if you are a Beatlemania fan, you will want to take in this show. On Saturday, October 4th is Les Zeppelin. Okay, it's an all-girl, all-Zeppelin band, high energy. On Saturday, October 11th, the Doo-Wop Project, Echoes of the Street, will be at Rockwell Theater. Wrapping up in November, even though there are more in December, is the Ultimate Michael Jackson Experience. So those shows can be found at Downtown Live. The Arts and Culture Commission is putting together a cultural district map. And this will be, if you've gone to a place like, I recently went to down in New London in that area, and they have the maps where you can find restaurants and businesses. We're putting one together for the cultural district. So it will feature our museums, it will feature some of our businesses. And so we'll be going out over the next couple months and seeking sponsors for that so that businesses could place themselves on the map So when people come to Bristol and want to take in a museum or a show, they'll know where they could go eat afterward. And so the members of the committee will be out putting these together. So there are sponsorships available. This will be posted on the Downtown Live website and on several of the city pages. In addition, the arts and culture will not be doing the Spooktacular, but on October 26th, there will be the Next Gen Car Show. It's a huge car show that's coming in to do this event, and they're going to incorporate a trunk or treat. So kids will have that opportunity to still come down. They'll still trunk or treat. There'll be some fabulous cars, but we are bringing back the coffin run. So if you remember last year, there were 5 teams that built coffins, that put on costumes and raced. And so we will have registration forms out shortly. Specifications on how to build your coffin. It's a $50 entrance fee with fabulous prizes for the winner. And so I just want to get that notice out so people can start. Just want to add quickly that the Animal Control Facility Committee met yesterday and gave final approval for our architect to start working on the 30 Cross Street project. So that contract will be signed in the next couple of weeks. We're very excited about that to move that forward. Actually, I think it has to come to council first, that contract. So since we just met yesterday, it didn't make the agenda, but we're real excited to start developing that property. And so that's all I have to report.
Great,
Thank you.
thanks. Committee reports for you, Eric. Any?
Yes. Bristol School Readiness Council has changed its name to Bristol Early Childhood Collaborative. The name change is only one of many of our early childhood landscapes, as many of the changes are coming from other state offices of the early childhood. If you're a parent or a parent of a young child and want to get involved in community activities and discussions making, please call BECCA Liaison Donna Osich at 860-584-6254 or Donna Osich at bristolct.gov. We are forming a new citywide parent committee and want parents of children birth through age 8 to join. Thank you.
Great. Did we miss any other committee reports? Okay, we'll move on to number 7, which is old business. Do we have any old business? Not aware of any old business. Cheryl, I think you have some new business.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. I would like to make a motion to bring a request to the zoning board to the table.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries.
Okay. We've been discussing in ordinance off and on for the past year concerns about the number of smoke and vape shops that are starting to show up all over Bristol. We've discussed many times and recognized that this best fits under a zoning board change in their ordinances or their regulations. And we've also just recently, as last week, discussed this again in the ordinance committee, looking at things that have happened in Milford or New Haven, and several of the other communities that are taking a more aggressive approach to these types of businesses. I've had citizens reach out. There is one group that has talked to me about a new shop that looks to be wanting to open on Federal Hill. So I wanted to bring this motion forward, and so I'm going to read it. So the motion is to request the zoning board to draft a regulation to limit smoke and vape shops. Whereas the city of Bristol has a legitimate interest in promoting the health, safety, and general welfare of its residents, and whereas public health data indicates that the proliferation of smoke and vape shops may increase youth access to nicotine products and contribute to adverse community health outcomes, and whereas unregulated clustering of smoke and vape shops can negatively impact neighborhood character, economic diversity, and overall quality of life, And whereas the city of Bristol has the authority under its zoning powers to regulate the location, density, and operating conditions of certain commercial uses in order to protect public health and community well-being, now therefore be it moved that the Bristol City Council hereby requests the zoning board to, 1, draft proposed regulations establishing reasonable reasonable limits on the location, density, and operating requirements of smoke and vape shops within the city or town. 2, consider provisions including, but not limited to, minimum distance requirements from schools, playgrounds, childcare centers, and other youth-serving facilities, caps on the number of establishments per zoning district, separation distances between smoke and vape shops to prevent clustering, and any additional conditions necessary to safeguard public health and welfare. 3, conduct public hearings to solicit community feedback prior to finalizing recommendations. And 4, present draft regulation to council for review and possible adoption within 120 days of this directive. Be it further moved that this request be entered into the official record and transmitted to the zoning board for further action. May I have a second?
Second.
Great. So we have a motion and a second. I'll open it up to some discussion here, if anybody has any discussion.
Well, I'd just like to say it's about time.
And let me make a little bit of clarity here too. I know that there may be some confusion because our cannabis kind of regulations are in our zoning ordinances, but that was a state mandate that came down from us. So city council kind of took action. This is different. This is a model that I think we've seen, as Cheryl said, in other communities, and it really is a regulation and not an ordinance. So we can ask them to do that. We also can make sure that they do bring that up, and that if citizens are concerned, they should go to the zoning meeting where this is brought up and voice their opinions and their concerns. I'm just going to speak out loud, and we didn't even talk about this morning from legal counsel, but I don't know that they have to present the draft regulation back to us. That's nice. But they don't have to do that. The zoning commission will work on its own. They are an independent party of us, and we can ask for it. And again, I just also want to be clear here. We're just asking the zoning commission to take this up and put it up for public hearings and to make a decision on it because it fits in their department more clearly. Other comments or questions?
To the chair, sure. I appreciate Councilwoman Tebow for bringing this to the table here. Probably been longer than 2 years that we've heard from folks in town about this issue, and the business profile in town is top heavy with a lot of these businesses. And, we got to think about what we want the business profile to look like in the long run. We've got PD also going and doing sweeps of a lot of these smoke shops and seeing if they're selling to underage or what they're selling. It takes a lot of time and effort for them to complete that, especially when they're popping up left and right. I appreciate Attorney Conlon for giving us some context and some information on this. I do think that, in the discussions that we've had, even in the past, the proper channel to really get this done is through zoning. And I really urge zoning to not just take a look, but to take it seriously, because I think that it's important to get done.
Great. Other comments or questions? All those in favor? Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carried.
Just also wanted to thank Attorney Conlon. He was very helpful in reviewing my draft.
He's always very helpful. All right. Any other new business? Resignations. I'll turn that over to Erica.
We have quite a few tonight. Rob Lawson resigned from the Board of Park Commissioners. Andrew Collins resigned from the Commission for Persons with Disabilities. And then we have 4 from what is now known as the Bristol Early Childhood Collaborative: Donna Kozer, Jillian Roman, Sarah Holmes, and Valerie Toner.
Let me have your motion, Cheryl.
Yes, thank you. Motion to put that on file and to send thank you notes to each of those who gave up their service to the city. Thank you.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, now we move on to new appointments, and we'll be filling quite a few of these positions tonight, so not to worry. The first appointment is for Bristol Burlington Health Department. And we're going to replace James Moylan, who was an excellent chair, but he's actually moving out of state, with Brian Sahinsky, and that will expire in 7/27.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And then I'm going to do all of these together. So the new Bristol Early Childhood Collaborative is going to get filled with several positions. I'm going to put my glasses on for this one. We're going to appoint Sandra Godin from Bristol Family Resource Centers, and Stephanie Danielle, who will be a parent ambassador. Kate Kirchart, which will be a member at large, and she's from the Main Street Community Foundation. Caitlin Rondo, who is a healthcare provider with WIC through Bristol Health. Kara Singleton, who is with Wheeler Health at 1 Hope Street. And that's it. May I have that motion?
So moved.
Second.
Great. All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? That motion carries. We move on to the Building Code of Appeals. So we are going to reappoint Ed D'Amato, and that term will expire in 8/30.
So
And that's okay. We got two of them. We'll do them together. That's all right. It's fine. And then we'll also reappoint Charlie Talmadge, who is the alternate member, also expires 8/30. That's why I was doing them together, but I appreciate that.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. On the Park Board, we're going to replace Rob Lawson with John Fitzgerald, and that will expire in 12/25. And we're going to replace Sandra Bogdansky with Cecilia Garay, also expires on 12/25.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. And then just two general announcements that have come from the Board of Finance, but we haven't put these into the record. So on capital improvement and strategic planning, Dave Mykowski was appointed as the Board of Finance member. And on the Northeast Middle School Building Committee, we were going to appoint John Lodovico as the Board of Finance member.
Move approval.
And I don't think we have to vote on it, right? Corp Council, that's just an announcement because it comes from the Board of Finance, but we like to put it in the record and let people know. So that's good. All right. We also have the motion, which is in front of somebody. I hope you can pull it up, the 10B. No, this is, I believe, yeah, we have the discontinuation of acting town clerk. If we can read that one, I got it right here if you have it. There it is, the second one, Cheryl.
I make a motion to discontinue the appointment of acting town clerk for Marina Bygos effective July 31, 2025.
Second.
And we're very happy to have Erica back. If, Marina has to fill in short term, that is fine as well too, but we needed to make this official. All those that are in favor of this?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right, and then maybe Cheryl, since I know you have it open, can you do this motion right there in front of you?
Okay, I would like to make a motion to approve funding necessary to execute the memorandum of understanding between the City of Bristol and the Bristol Police Union for the referral and sign-on bonus program for lateral certified police officers effective August 13th, 2025, and referred to the Board of Finance.
Second.
Great, thanks, Sue. So I'll call Ozzy up and Jim Hazelkamp, and they'll talk about what is going on here. I'll let Jim lead maybe, and I know that while he's doing that, Deputy Chief Osborne, I call him Ozzy, sorry about that, but I'll be a little more formal, handed us all some information as well to look over. So go ahead, take it over, Jim.
Sure. So this sort of came about, I'll give a quick overview. About 3 months ago, I was at a seminar of a professional association that I belong to, and one of the sessions was on police recruitment and the current problems with police recruitment. It was put on by South Central Criminal Justice. And just so you have a sense of how bad, and I had a sense it was bad, but I'll give you just a quick statistic that they put out, and they represent 22 municipalities. Back in 2010 to 2014, there was an average over a 5-year period of 907 applicants. This year, from 2020 to 2024, there was 153 average for those 22 communities. So that sort of was an eye opener to me. I knew, having been doing this for a while, that we were going to have trouble recruiting. They are currently doing a whole survey to try to determine what is, I think, anecdotally, what people think about the struggles with recruitment. They're actually currently doing an analysis through one of the educational institutions to try to pinpoint exactly why folks aren't going into policing. So that seminar, brought me back to my office to talk to my staff about what was going on with police recruiting. I then happened to run into the chief, and what I did not know at the time, because I was pretty new, was that the town had, and all towns do, try to incentivize lateral transfers. And we'll get into that. I know there's some analysis of the savings for that. I had discussions with the chief. The chief had indicated that they had done a prior MOU with the police union, but really the program, his was not very successful. I think they only got one person out of that particular program. So that led me to look at what was done in the past, what we sort of thought was some other ideas to incentivize recruitment on both the officers trying to get people to come to the department and on the other side, which is the candidate side. So that led to a whole series of drafts. We went back and forth many times over different things that we thought would work. There was cost implications of some of them that we decided we wouldn't do now. You know, I think it's important to understand this issue is not going away. There was discussion, I mentioned that we're currently engaged in our current recruitment. Well, I asked this morning and I was shocked. This closes on September 8th, I believe is the date. We have 10 applicants as we sit today. So we are faced, and it's likely we're going to have to extend. It doesn't make sense to me to close. So this is a global issue. This is the first attempt at putting together a slightly different program. We will see how it works. If it doesn't work, we'll come back and probably make some changes to it to see if there's a different way. But this is the first step. It was vetted through the chief, the mayor, and I over several months to try to get to where we are. Is it perfect? No. You know, if we get 3 to 5 people out of this program, that would be a home run. And that really is because I know we'll speak to the costs. If you want to quickly go through, you know, you want to hand that out, or
We handed it out ahead of time, so
it's funny because the deputy chief called me and said, "Oh, I did an analysis," and he said it comes up with like 48,000. He said, "I was only $2,000 off. I guess it was about $50,000 in savings." Because that's roughly, you know, I've done this in other communities. That's roughly the savings. But I'll let you can run through the.
And before he goes through the numbers, I just want to add one other thing at a conference that Chief Morello brought me to with a couple of other officers as well. Gordon Graham came in and spoke about the same issues and really emphasized that the key to these programs now is to incentivize your local officers that are in the field, that have friends and family and can really recruit them. So that's the biggest change to this dynamic. But you're going to talk about the finances a little bit here, which we did, by the way, also run this by Diane in comptroller's office. I don't think you mentioned her, but yes.
I did watch some of the financial.
Yes, she did, especially on the retirement side stuff, but that's complicated. So
just, I'm sure many of you are aware, as far as new hires, when they first come on, it's a lengthy process to get them through the process and to actually get into the academy. What really takes up a lot of the costs is the wages while they're in the academy. And once they come out, they do a field training process with another officer where they're out on the road with another officer for about 3 months. So that right there is between the wages at the police academy is nearly $40,000 and then nearly another $20,000 while they're on FTO. And then there's a cost for the police academy itself, which is $3,800 and some incidentals for over $500. So that's total $63,000 there alone. And what we're looking to do is with the certified officer recruitment referral bonus, a total cost of $15,000. But at the end of the day, the savings, if we're able to bring over a certified officer, is $48,000. And one of the unfortunate things we're kind of seeing is other municipalities are a little bit ahead of us, and they're actually coming in and poaching officers from us. So we're trying to be proactive in this step. In regards to bringing over some certified lateral officers. We kind of also believe that our officers network with other agencies and have friends that they've made through the police academy. So
our officers are able to kind of influence other officers with different agencies and tell them about the positive and great things here at the Bristol Police Department. So there, I'm sure many of you know Mark Kitcher, who's a great salesman, and there's other officers like that, and that's what we hope to do with this program. So.
Yeah, he's missed out on a lot of opportunities up to this point, but he'll make up for it, hopefully.
And I think just a couple of points on some of this, on the details of it. You know, it carried over probably 3/4 of what's in here is what was in the last agreement. There were some changes. We reduced the amount that we were going to pay to the candidate. I think that was 10,000. We took it down to 7,500, and then the other 7,500 would go to the officers. So that's sort of the 15,000. The thing is, I think is different because I haven't seen other towns do it, and I know I sort of it wasn't really anything big deal that I suddenly figured this out. Corporations have started to realize that student loan debt is a big issue for people coming out of colleges. So the big change to this is the ability to pitch to younger folks, in this case, who have a lot of student loan debt, that we would in fact, over a 5-year period, reimburse them for part of those expenses as they pay for their debt in that regard. I haven't seen anybody else do that. We'll see if it matters. May not matter at all. That's just one of the tools we would give the referring officer to make the pitch that we can do that. I mean, the other things that you have here that a lot of municipalities don't is a pension plan. I've been in several of the communities where they eliminated the pension plan. That's certainly a big plus. I think one of the problems is young people don't usually care about pensions when you're trying to recruit them. So maybe it's the officers that have been in other communities for 5 to 10 years who suddenly see that they need to worry more about that we can poach them. You know, it is an exercise of, unfortunately, people stealing from each other. I'll just tell you one last statistic I'm going to give you. From January 2019 to December 31st, 2023, there was a survey of 31 communities that responded to a survey. Of the 629 officers that were hired, 44% of them were lateral hires. That was a really eye-opening number to me. So because the pool keeps shrinking, it's just everybody keep stealing from everybody else until there's some shift where we can get more people involved in policing. This is the world that we're in, which is this competitive nature where we're going to end up trying to steal folks from everywhere else, and everybody else is going to try to steal our folks. So that's sort of the challenges that we have with this. And like I said, if it doesn't work, we'll come back and tweak it and see if we can do better in the future, maybe unfortunately costing more than it does right now. So,
and while you guys are thinking of questions, if you have any, the only other thing that I'll remind people is through the budget process, we have limited overtime budgets for all departments, and with a force that would be shrinking with some forced retirements and other openings, that's going to put our police department at great risk where we have to fill openings with backfill on this. So any questions from anybody here?
Through the chair?
Yep. Eric, you first, and then I'll come down this.
In my, what I do in my industry, we do sign-on bonuses as well. But we wait about 6 months before we give the money to the employee and to the hire, to avoid, if they get there and 2 months down the road, they're like, nope, don't like it here, and they move. Is there going to be anything like that in this?
I forgot, but I think there is something in there.
Right.
I think they have to
Right
go
here.
patient.
Okay, it's 30 days.
Yeah.
No, 6 months.
So they have a 6-month probationary period, correct?
So
Is that what it
30
is?
days certified officer,
Right.
Okay.
And the
then it can be paid after.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure.
Yep.
I didn't see that on there.
Good. Yeah, we had talked about that, so that's in there. Any other questions? Sue?
Just like a little clarity for everyone, we're down 7 officers.
I asked that this morning. It's either between 5 to 7. We have one flat and in the middle now, but it's anywhere between 6 and 7, I think is what I heard this morning. Yes.
And Deputy Chief, like if we're down 7, like what kind of impact can we expect on our police department being down 7?
I mean, what it is right now, the same impact, to be honest. And there are anticipated retirements in the near future. So the certified officer, it really, they only need a month in the field training process, and they've already been through the academy. So it's really kind of a quick fix when we're able to bring them over compared to a new hire. So it's a great thing.
And we also, incentives are great. Has there also been any thought, I know this is a different discussion and probably a lot more money, but any thought as far as like being able to offer buying back time?
Yeah, we did look at some, not specifically buying back time. We started playing around in the pension arena. Would have required a lot more analysis. I think that's where you may go if we can't do something like this. But that requires some actuarial services that we just, at this point, thought that we try this first and then we'll see if we have to look at other avenues. Diane in particular was a little concerned about that, because obviously once you start dealing with pensions, the liabilities and the costs for that become much more significant. This, we sort of know the general parameters of what we're exposed to, because we also have some caveats in here that if we're not currently recruiting, we can just shut it off temporarily. So we have some pretty good controls. The pension is a much more complicated exercise on how we would do that. That has more impacts on the existing members that we were worried about. So that could potentially be a later date exercise for us.
And I do believe it'd have to go through the pension board as well, too, the retirement board. So it was another step, and I do believe that time is of the essence here. We really do need to move this forward.
One last question.
Sure.
Just for clarity for everyone, like we have a certified list and a non-certified list. How do we pull off of those? Like if we have 5 certifieds wanting to come here and 5 who are not certified, do we have some leverage here to, pull the certifieds first, or do we have to go in order of how they scored on a test?
We can take the laterals straight. We don't have to wait. There's no pecking order in that regard. We can, it makes sense to pull the laterals from a business standpoint. So that's what we would do. We don't have to, I think there's only one person left on the existing list. And I think we're in the process. That's where they're in the middle of the process. I am really worried because I had no idea until I asked this morning, because we had it open for a couple of weeks and we just went, one of the problems is we are competing the way the state is set up because of an application, believe it or not. There's one central application process called Police App. When you apply there, you can see who else is recruiting, and by and large, folks will, they apply to almost all the jurisdictions. So it's not like, okay, we start with this and we end up with this. No, we end up with this and we're competing with a whole bunch of other agencies for a very limited pool. I asked Wendy this morning for the 100, just say you had 100 applicants, 50 of them show for the test. So we lose like 50% not even showing up to the test. Then not quite half of those fail. So we're already down to out of the 100 pool, down to 30 people. That's before we've done the background check, before we've competed with other towns. So it's going to be an incredibly challenging process, I think, for the next 10 or 15 years until there's a shift, or until folks realize that I think it's a worthwhile endeavor, and policing is a good thing, and it's a good way for us to sort of sell this. I think what towns don't do, because frankly, a lot of towns don't want to spend the money, is actually do a marketing campaign, because it's a lot of money. I've seen some towns do billboards and stuff like that. I know when I was in Bridgeport, when we were in Bridgeport, we did that. And that's what we may get to. You may actually had to do more of a targeted marketing campaign. But it's a challenge right now, given the current dynamics of the field of policing. So.
Great. Cheryl.
Through the chair. Please help me understand the officers we're recruiting to be certified. About how many years of service do they have? They've gone through an academy. They've been tested in their own force. And with that, what about certified officers from another state? How would that all work? And would we consider that as well?
With that, it depends on the state. Post has standards that they have to meet, and different states have different standards. So that's really something we'd have to apply to the academy on whether or not that's something feasible. Once in a while, we'll get that, but that's kind of a rarity.
Okay.
We have had out of states where they've only had to go to the academy for a couple of weeks because they've lacked something from their state academy. But again, that's kind of a unique situation.
Okay, so typically a certified officer has how many months or years under their belt?
They would have had to go and pass probation.
Exactly. They'd have been off probation. So usually it varies, to be honest, a couple years to 10 years is usually the gamut. It's an individual thing.
And their ramp up period would basically getting to know our policies, procedures, and our roads and so forth.
They'd be on our field training process for about 4 weeks. So.
Okay.
Yep.
And just my comments, makes perfect sense. When in the private industry, you recruit a professional, you're talking 20 to 25% of their first year's salary that you might pay to a recruiter to find a person. The fact that you can have a program like this that you test and that it has an expiration date if it doesn't work, you know, you've got to start putting a lot of tools in the toolbox. So thank you for your creativity in designing this.
Fingers crossed.
Other questions or comments? Mark?
Did this go through the police commission first?
It did not.
Isn't it supposed to go through the?
No, this came from the union, right to, HR, and, many memorandums of understanding go through that process.
Okay.
Typically, they don't have a role. It's the same thing with collective bargaining. We don't go to the police commission to talk about collective bargaining. Under the state statutes, it's the chief elected official that has the authority over labor relations and labor matters. So it wouldn't normally, in fact, I don't think I've ever had a conversation with a police commission about a labor relations issue, mostly because the statute gives it to the chief elected official to do that. So that's how they're not really in that mix. That's what I can tell you.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions or comments? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. Good luck. Let's get this going and hopefully we get some quick results from this. All right, 11B, and I'll just read it here. I'll entertain a motion to approve submission of a grant application to the State Connecticut Department of Emergency Services and Public Protection Division of Statewide Emergency Telecommunications Grant for approximately $36,200.
Second.
Any questions or comments on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Motion carries. All right. So on this one, we only need the first part of this. Cheryl's got it, so she's going to go ahead and read our resolution.
Okay, be it resolved that Jeffrey Pagiano, Mayor of the City of Bristol, is hereby authorized to execute on behalf of the City of Bristol a grant agreement and conservation and public recreation easement, an agreement under the Open Space and Watershed Land Acquisition Program with the State of Connecticut for financial assistance to acquire permanent interest in land known as Hopper's Burge Pond Preserve Expansion, OSWA 668, and to manage said land as open space pursuant to Section 7-131D of the Connecticut General Statutes.
Can I have a second?
Second.
Great. This will be a resolution here too, but we talked about this earlier, so we're just finalizing the paperwork so that we can get the grant back to us to go ahead and help us return money from the land that we purchased.
It's a roll call vote, Mayor.
Yep.
Councilmember Dicko,
Yay.
Councilmember Olson,
Aye.
Councilmember Paniotto,
Aye.
Councilmember Rosengren,
Aye.
Councilmember Tebow,
Yes.
Councilmember Tyler,
Aye.
Mr. Mayor.
Yes. Passes unanimously. A very good thing. Long time coming on this one. All right, 13 is contract 2C25081, and I'll entertain a motion to award contract 2C25081 Community Connectivity Grant Program to Martin Lavero Contractor Incorporated in the amount of $712,025 and to authorize the mayor or acting mayor to execute any and all documents necessary to effect said contract.
Second.
Questions or comments on this? All those in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any other matters to come before us? I looked up, all three of those were in the consent agenda, right? Good, okay. The school board ones, I had 3. Anybody else have anything else?
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned.